Good morning, dear student. In my previous video, I had made on directive principles and importance of a constitution. But many students they were saying that their video got corrupted. Some were saying that my voice was not clear or sound was not coming. The video is stopped. So some problem was there. I don't know what problem was there because this happened for the first time. So many videos I have made and I have sent to you. You never had any problem. But this time I don't know something went wrong or what. And so I am preparing this video again. Okay. So in this chapter, this is the last portion that we are discussing, the salient features. Okay, already we discussed about the preamble, the detailed written constitution, a sovereign democratic republic, a socialist and secular state, single citizenship, independent judiciary, parliamentary system, fundamental rights, fundamental duties, and then the last, the directive principles. I will continue. Okay, if you have not understood, then you can see my previous video where I have explained all these features. Okay, so directive principles. The word directive means to direct. Okay, to direct anything, to guide, okay, to provide help. Okay, so directive principle is meant for the government. Fundamental right is meant for the people. This is the difference between fundamental right and directive principles. Fundamental rights are given to the people. It is to protect the rights of the people, and directive principles are made for the government, to give direction to the government, to guide the government, to provide a guideline. Okay, so directive principle act like a guide. Okay, guide. What is the role of a guide? To help you in finding your location or direction. Okay, the guide helps you. If you are in an unknown land and you don't know which way to go, then you take the help of a guide. So in the same way, the government, when this country became free, independent, so this directive principles was like a guide for the government, to guide the government, to direct the government what to do and what not to do. So our constitution gives some directives to the government to improve the condition of the people. So these are directives to the government. Why these directives are given to the government? Because the government should function for the welfare of the people, for the good of the people, for good governance. That is to improve the condition of the people by developing various things, by providing basic facilities to the people. So that is why our constitution gives some directives to the government to improve the condition of the people. These principles help the government to make social and economic reforms in the country. Okay, so these directive principles, these principles help the government. How? They help the government to make social and economic reform, that is to bring some reforms in the social, that is society, and in the economic field also some reforms in the country. According to Justice K.S. Hegde, who was the Chief Justice of Supreme Court, okay, former, sometime before he was the Chief Justice K.S. Hegde, he says about the directive principles. The purpose of the directive principles is to fix certain social and economic goals for immediate attainment by bringing about a non-violent social revolution. So this is a statement given by K.S. Hegde about directive principles. That is, the main purpose of directive principle is to bring certain changes in social and economic. We have to fix what are our social goals, what are our economic goals, what do we want to achieve. Okay, for immediate attainment to bring about non-violent social revolution. Okay, not violent, non-violent social revolution. That is, in the society, many changes has to be brought. So that is about directive principles. More we will discuss about directive principles when we go to the chapter on directive principles. Now, importance of a constitution, second part. You can see over here Pandit Nehru signing the Indian Constitution. Okay, this is the Indian Constitution prepared by the Constituent Assembly. and then all the member of the Constituent Assembly, they put their signature, they signed on this document. Okay, and so importance of a constitution. The constitution signifies independence, that we are a independent country. Okay, because before 1947, 15th August 1947, India was a slave country. India was ruled by the British, and for many years, the Indian patriots and freedom fighters, they fought against the British government for independence, and finally, we succeeded in getting independence on 15th August. That is, we celebrate every year Independence Day on 15th August 19. It took place in 1947. It establishes the main organ of the government, the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. Okay, so the constitution establishes the main organs of the government. In a government, there are three important organs. Okay, legislature, which makes the law. Legislature consists of our parliament. Okay, parliament, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha. And in the parliament, our law are made. Whatever rules, regulation, laws, or enactment, or any changes in the constitution, or any such things, important decision, all are taken in the legislature. So they make law. The executive implements the law that is made in the legislature. That is, executive uh, implements the law, that is to make the people follow that law. Whatever law that is made by the legislature, the executive implements and make the people follow that law. Executive consists of the prime minister and the council of minister. The prime minister and the council of minister. And then the judiciary. Judiciary is the judicial wing, that is the Supreme Court and the High Court. The role of judiciary is to see whether the legislature and executive are functioning according to the constitution. That is, the law that is made, it should be according to the constitution. If the law is not according to the constitution, then in that case the judiciary can declare that law as null and void. That is, to reject that law. That law will be rejected. It will not be implemented. The people will not be forced to follow that law. So judiciary play a very important role, and judiciary is completely independent from legislature and executive. It is an independent. Legislature and executive are interlinked because the prime minister and council of minister come from the legislature. They are member of legislature, so they are interlinked. Okay, they are interconnected. They cannot be separated. But judiciary is a independent organization. It does not have any role to play with legislature and executive, and legislature and executive cannot force the judiciary to take any decision. So the judiciary takes this decision independently. Okay, so judiciary is independent. So today we will discuss up to here. Then in my next video again I will continue and I will complete this chapter. In the meantime, you can write the question answer of this lesson and the exercise. Okay, till then, take care. Thank you. Bye.